Hello, friends, and welcome to Profoundish. I've got 2 questions for you today, everybody. 1, who's better, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or Kobe Bryant? And then 2, if you could hire anybody to conduct a scary, spooky, haunted train attraction, who would you hire? I'm joined by Alex. My name's Weston. You're listening to Profoundish. You've probably noticed this a little bit in the stuff that you do, especially maybe if you rewatch Jammin' Chats, stuff where you're actually talking. Because I know a lot of the stuff you do is like music and singing, so you're like thinking lyrics. But if you go back and watch recordings of yourself talking candidly, you start to pick up on your own mannerisms that you didn't realize you do. Like the all right, all right. Oh, I didn't realize I say all right all the time. You don't realize it until you record yourself and you're like watching yourself back. And you're like, oh, I really do.
You know, it's funny. I've never really. So I've been told by people these different kind of random quips I have or little things I say. That's true. But I've actually I've never. The only things I've watched myself talk about have always been scripted. So I haven't seen it in myself, and I'm kind of afraid to go back and watch Jammin' Chats. But I totally believe it's all there because those are the only things that are unscripted, right? So, but you do get fixated on it, and then you notice how often you do these things. Do you have anything like that people have pointed out to you, or have you caught yourself doing?
That people have pointed out, I'm trying to think if anyone's pointed any out, because I think that would be really interesting. I don't know if I've had any pointed out. There's definitely things that I've noticed in recording myself because I do a lot more like just off the cuff talking all the time for the stuff that I do. And I don't remember what all it has been over the years that I've tried to adjust and change for. But likes, the typical stuff that people kind of do all the time for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely realized at one point in time how much I just candidly would swear all the time. So I would cut back on that for recordings. You know that one, but
that's funny. You're pretty good, and maybe it's because you've had a lot of time kind of just speaking off the cuff, like over the years with your entertainment. You're really good, in my opinion, from when I listen to your podcast, listen to a Hasty podcast, everybody. But you don't really do a lot of unless you're really trying to think about something for a second. You're pretty good, at least from what I hear, with your ums and ers. So that's kudos.
I'm relatively thank you. I'm relatively conscious about it because of how much I have listened to myself talk. So I'm relatively there are things that I do. One of the things I do is interrupt myself a lot. I literally stop mid-sentence and will change course on a different thought. I interrupt myself a lot. Or repeat myself a lot. I do that.
Huh, okay.
Yeah.
There's an I got one.
That wasn't even an that was an
Okay, different category.
That's that is a different category in a way. So you have your filler words, which what I just did was definitely a filler word, but there are the ones that are the sort of quirk or tick words. I don't know, where it's where you're just filling in the space. Versus, I feel like some words are meant to. Like when I did that long, prolonged that was my brain's processing, but I want you to know it. You know what I mean? That was not a subconscious that was a very intentional.
Okay, yeah, that you explained it well. I know what you mean, because I'll have those too, which are separate from my ums and ers. A lot of times for me, there's a B in there. I go, and I'm going through whatever in my head. For some reason, it's almost burpy. It's But I was going to say, I don't know about you. The only things I noticed in myself, different mannerisms and things, are when it's subconscious that I do it, but I end up taking things from other people for a short period of time. So if I'm hanging out with somebody for a while, say I've got there's a coworker that I work with a lot or something, and they have a particular quirk that they do or like a particular phrase they say, I will find myself over time. It's usually months. It's not like immediately. I don't go, oh, they say this and that's cool, I'm going to say it. But it'll usually be pointed out to me, like Steph's done that to me before. She's noticed that I said something that a coworker said because she knows the coworker too. Or I've caught it even in myself. And I will catch myself saying it, and I'll go, I don't usually say that. Why am I saying this now? And then I realize where it came from. And then I try to stop because I feel like I'm just being a copycat, you know? And then it ends up going away. And then, but that happens to me quite often. Does that ever happen to you, or is that just a me thing?
I feel like that's just how slang happens,
yeah.
Right? Where you hear some new word being used and you don't know anything about it, but then you slowly start trying to like incorporate it yourself, almost subconsciously. Like yeet or lit.
Oh, God.
One that I do a lot is dope.
Dope. Do we still say that? Is that still
dope. That's
in,
dope.
Or is that out now?
I don't know who... I'm sure that's been out forever. No one says dope, but I say dope all the time.
I think
where someone's like, "Oh yeah, I did that thing for you, so that's already done," and I'd be like, "Dope."
I think we should bring
instead of like awesome.
We should bring back like the 70s slang for dope for like pot. I think we should bring that back, like the old folks. You kids smoking dope? We should.
You guys slinging the dope?
We should bring that back.
You guys lighting the dope? You dope heads lit in here?
Smoking the grass?
Holla.
You
kids, are you kids yeeting dope back there?
Dude, it's so bad how far removed I am from some of these words. Like for a long time I wouldn't say the words, but I still knew what they meant. They were still younger than us, but I knew what they meant, you know? And for example, like I never got into fire. Like, oh, that's fire. But like I know what fire means or lit or all that stuff. But now there are some that I have no idea what they mean until I inevitably Google it or something, like an old fart. What does I don't even think of what's even a good example? I can't even think of an example now.
It's been explained to me, but my brain refuses to grasp it. I still don't understand how to use the word based.
Yeah, but forgive me, everybody who is probably under 24 and knows exactly what it means, but like, doesn't that, to my knowledge, isn't it like that just means you're like, it's average?
I don't know, because my brain wants to think that means the same thing as like basic, and it doesn't. That's not what it is. But I think it means that you're like honest, like you have a thought and you believe it, and you don't care what anyone else thinks, and that's based. Or at least that's how I always see it, like on Twitter, where someone says a thing and it's something that would be like normally cancelable, but like you don't care because it's like, well, this is just the way it is. I'm not trying to make anyone happy. This is just the way it is. Based.
Wow. Well, you have see, I was so far off. I
don't know if I'm right. I just think that's what it is.
I think I know.
I
know when the shift happened. Not when I stopped using the words, because that was even longer ago, but the shift where I just kind of stopped really even trying to care. And then if I learn it, I learn it. If I don't, I don't. And I think the phrase for that turning point for me was cap or no cap. Or is it just no cap?
Oh, yeah. Cap.
Can it be both?
Cap means like lie, like liar or whatever. Right. So if you're not lying, no
exactly,
cap.
No cap.
Like if you're saying like we used to say honest, right? Like, oh yeah, I saw Jimmy throw Susie down the well. Honest.
Right.
Now you'd be like, no cap.
I don't know the origins
Susie's
of that.
in the well right now. No cap.
That's so weird. But I don't even know where the origins come from that. But that for me was a turning point of like, you know what, I'm giving up. This is it. There's yeet. All this. I don't know anymore, and I'm sorry.
Yeet is one that I adopted late, but it is kind of it is a fun word to just yell when you chuck something. Just, yeet.
Does anyone yell Kobe when they throw things anymore, like a basketball, or is that over now?
No, I thought about that
Kobe.
A few days ago at work. Someone like threw a piece of trash into like the trash can, and I almost did. I didn't say anything, but I almost said Kobe.
You would have aged yourself.
Or D for 3.
Right, yep.
I'm like, this kid's not going to have any idea what I'm talking. Well, he probably knows who Kobe Bryant is, because he's like a freaking basketball Hall of Famer or whatever, but like still.
It won't. I don't know. I bet you it won't take too long because, I mean, obviously he passed away a few years ago. So for anyone young enough, I don't know, but people know who Michael Jordan is. I mean, I guess he's alive too, but it's also been way longer.
Kobe was pretty big.
But I don't know. Okay, here you go, Weston. Random question. Does this matter to you at all?
Okay.
I don't know. But between, now you know my limited sports knowledge, it's very, very limited. But between...
It's okay, so is mine.
If you had to pick, I don't know how much you know about him at all, but between Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan, who would you say is your favorite? Or who's the best? That's the question everyone always has. They always say LeBron or Jordan, but I'll throw Kobe in there too.
Can I say Le Kobe Jordan? Can I combine
that
all
literally
three of
sounds
them
like another
into a
basketball
giant
player.
Chimera?
Le Kobe Jordan. They probably would be good.
Kobe Jordan. It'd be amazing. The greatest thing that I've ever lived. Wait, what were you asking me? Who's like the best of those three?
Just in your random opinion, who's the best out of those three? And then, favorite.
I'm just gonna have to go with the normie answer. I think it's the normie answer. I'm just gonna go with Michael Jordan because he's famous. We all know that all three of them have amazing statistics to back up whatever you want to say. And you can say all kinds of things about how, like, maybe Michael Jordan was playing at a time where the competition was as stiff as, like, when Kobe was playing.
That's what they say
whatever.
a lot,
You can make these... Yeah, you can make these arguments back and forth. I remember playing... what was it called? It was called, like, Street Volume 2, that basketball game or whatever. And you could get a team that was, like, 3 different Michael Jordans. All right? I've never played a game where you could play as 3 different eras of Kobe or LeBron or literally anybody other than Michael Jordan. So I'm just going to go with Michael Jordan.
I totally agree, and you actually were kind of bringing it to the point I was going to make where, yes, all 3 are incredible, but I don't think either of the other 2 had the same cultural impact that Michael Jordan had in the 90s because he, like, transcended basketball. He was everywhere. Like, I remember, like, I loved Michael Jordan, and I never watched an ounce of basketball. I did watch a lot of Space Jam. But, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like he was very synonymous with the 90s and pop culture. He was in a bunch of commercials, and obviously he made it into movies and all that stuff. I don't see quite the same impact culturally from the other 2 guys, who... I know some people, just like you said, I know technically there's some things that they do better or stats or whatever, but I don't know. I think overall impact, it's got to be Jordan. It has to be. Has to be.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm going like Michael Jordan, household name. Everybody knows who that is. I don't know.
Yeah. Is this the basketball episode?
No, it's not. Have you? You know, you mentioned Space Jam before.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite Space Jam character?
It's been so long. I don't know. That's kind of more just like asking me who, like...
It's basically favorite Looney Tunes character.
Yeah, exactly. I've always loved the Martian dude.
Marvin the Martian. I think his name was Marvin.
I think you're right.
I think. I don't think I'm making that up. Did you ever see that movie? This is completely unrelated. There's that movie called My Favorite Martian. I don't remember what his name was. That was live action.
I think you talked to me about this on the pod.
Did I? I don't remember.
Because that name sounds very familiar, and I think I only know it from you. I think. But
I think it's a good movie. I think I recommend it. I think it came out in the 90s, so I was young. So
I think it's good. I think I recommend it. What a wreck. I would say it's either Marvin the Martian or I also loved, he didn't have a big role, but Tasmanian Devil. Always loved Tasmanian Devil, too, especially when I was young.
I love Taz. I had a Looney Tunes game. I don't remember what it was called, Time Busters or whatever, where you could play it 2 players, and one player could be Bugs Bunny and one player could be Taz. And you couldn't stand them too close to each other because Taz would keep trying to eat Bugs Bunny. Like, he'd like just start to bite.
Oh, man.
At Bugs idly. So it was pretty funny. But I liked playing as Taz.
That's awesome.
He was just a big old goofball.
I'm staring at my SNES collection right now, and I have a game that I played as a kid called, I'm looking at it, it's called Tasmania. That's what it's called. I'll never forget this.
Ooh.
And you play specifically as Taz, just him. And it's like, I don't even know how you describe the genre of the game. Basically, you're just running down this road through these levels, and you have to, like, eat birds and just collect random things and make it to the end without, like, getting hit by cars. And
so eat Tweety.
Yeah, you basically eat Tweety over and over and over again. It was actually really fun. I don't know if it's actually, like, it holds up and is a good game, but I loved it as a kid, and that's all that matters. It was made by Sunsoft.
Sunsoft. There's a name I haven't heard in an eon.
I was going to say, it's definitely been a while for me too, but yeah.
In an age.
In an age. Just one age, yes.
Just one.
But what an
Just
age
one
it was. That's still one of my favorite things you've ever said. What an age it was.
If we had to cosplay as Taz for Halloween, like as a Halloween costume, how would we do that?
We meaning like you and I are hopping in the same costume. Like, what do you mean?
If that's what it takes.
I think it'd be really funny if one of us was Tweety and one of us was Taz.
Who's who? Who's Tweety Bird? Who's a really long, tall, lanky Tweety Bird? Because Tweety Bird's this tiny little... If either one of us was trying to be Tweety Bird, would more people realize we're being Tweety Bird, or would more people think we're a really bad version of Big Bird?
Big Bird and Taz. That's a good point. That's hilarious. I think you are like taller than me, and
because Taz is kind of a short guy too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just feel like that'd be closer if I was Taz, I guess, and you were Tweety Bird. But yeah, you would just come off as Big Bird. How could you not? You know what I mean? I don't know.
No one would see a giant yellow bird and say, "Is that Tweety?"
Oh my gosh! I don't know if you're familiar with this, but I've actually done this when I've worked in an office. So, like, are you familiar with that scene in The Office where Jim goes to Halloween as 3-hole punch Jim? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. So it's just
3-hole punch Jim.
It's super simple. You know, it's early seasons Jim, so he's really just kind of chill, subdued. Doesn't say much. He's just kind of the cool guy, and he doesn't really want to dress up for Halloween. So he just takes He cuts out 3 circles in black construction paper and tapes it on his side. Just 3 big circles, and then he's 3-hole punch Jim. It's not even really a funny thing in the show. It's just something he does, right? I've done that a few times at different work establishments I've been in, and no one has gotten it. And it's not like an obscure joke. It really isn't, I promise. It's 3-hole punch Jim.
For as much as everyone talks about, or it feels like it to me, how everyone's seen The Office like a zillion times through, I haven't. So I'm always like, I don't understand most of the references, just the really popular ones. But it seems like The Office is popular enough that somebody, like at least one person, would have gotten it, right?
I was about to say, there was one person who got it, and it was Steph. And that was awesome. And that was a moment. That was early on, too.
And then that was how you knew.
That's how I knew.
She was the one.
I won't ever forget this dude. Like, this was like just our first or second date, and I found out she liked The Office and I liked The Office. It's one of the few things that we both actually really love together. And so we really hold on to that. It's special, right? And
it's the only thing keeping you together. It's the glue. It's The Office.
Yes, that's basically what I just said. But so I said, I was being kind of playful, of course, but I said I could probably outsmart you in Office trivia, just kind of tongue-in-cheek and everything. And then we both went to...
Trying to impress her.
Yeah, well, just kind of being playful, and then... So we kind of agreed on our next date. I think this was literally date 2, possibly 3. Can't remember which one, but it was early on, and we both kind of came prepared to ask each other Office questions, and I kicked her butt with it. That's all I'm going to say. Steph, if you're listening,
I'm imagining you guys sit down... I imagine you guys sit down in like on a couch. You both have like a sheet of paper, and you're like, "These are my top 5 trivia questions about The Office. I'm going to read to you." And then that was how your podcast was born.
Hey, if we work out, we should start a podcast. That's good. Yeah, that was quite the time. The thing too that's interesting about that is that I've only seen The Office all the way through once. But I know so much about it, and here's the difference. She's seen it all the way through like 4 times, right? Like everybody says they have. The difference, and I know the difference because I've been with Steph for so long now, we've seen so many things together. She does the things that most people do when they watch shows. It's not a bad thing, just something that people do, which is you get distracted.
It's a bad thing.
You leave it on. You walk in. I do kind of think it's a bad thing, yeah, but I wasn't going to say it. But she'll walk into the kitchen.
I can say it.
Or she'll look at her phone or whatever. And so that for me, that's the only reason why I would think, because when I watch a show, I watch it. I don't look at my phone. If I'm going to step away for a second, I pause it, go away. So I'm absorbing every moment of it, you know? So that's just my theory. I don't know if it's true, but I feel like because I've seen her watching habits, she gets really distracted and stuff. So I figured that's probably why, just based on the trivia part, I just usually know a lot more random things because my eyes are on the screen more.
Well, yeah, because you're actually taking in more of the details. Whereas if you're checking your like your Twitter or whatever while you're watching a show, yeah, you can hear the show going on. You get the gist. You know the main plot or the main idea of what's happening in the episode. But yeah, if you're not glued to the TV, you're going to miss the details, the hidden little, like when one office worker in the background like looks up and gives a weird face to the guy who's actually giving the interview, or what, the talking heads or whatever. Random stuff like that.
I don't know if
you're going to miss that.
Tell me if you'd tell me if I'm going to put yourself in this situation and tell me if you would appreciate this or if it's for you, it'd be just kind of a waste of a conversation. So I'm just curious, when I go over to Steph's house and she's like been watching a show without me, right? And we're not going to do much that night and she wants to watch that show, I'll just hop in and just watch it with her. Like, I don't really care. Like, that's cool, whatever. Unless it's like a very particular show I want to watch. But, I know you and I both don't really watch much shows anymore, not like we used to.
Not really.
And so I figured I was curious your opinion on this. What she'll always do. I don't know why this is ranting about Steph episode. Sorry, honey. But
you're not ranting. We're just talking about her where she's not here to defend herself. That's all.
I like that. That's a lot better way to say it. So she'll always break down what's going on. So she's 7 episodes into like a 12-episode show. Okay, that's pretty thick into a show. And she'll be like,
I get that.
Right, okay. So she'll explain, here's what's going on. Here's what this character's doing. Here's what this character's doing. Here's what's going on. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, you ready? Now, for me, I'm kind of like, okay, that's fine. And she knows that I don't necessarily need her to tell me any of these things. I'm like, just let me watch the show. Because I'm not going to go back and watch it. If I catch on, I do. If I don't, I don't. I'm just here to spend time with you. And just, if I catch on to the show, I do, right? So for me, I'd much rather just kind of hop into it blind. Like, just because I don't want to listen to this 30-minute synopsis of a show that I'm probably not going to go back and watch, which would be richer for me to do anyway, but I'm not going to do it. So let's just not waste this time and watch the show. Do you have an opinion on that, or does that not bother you?
No, actually, I'm going to say I'm like Steph, maybe worse. So what I do is that, so I'm the guy, like if you come in, I'm like watching a show or whatever, and you come in and sit down like, hey, what you watching? I'm like, oh yeah, this is episode 7 of 12 on whatever show. What I do, instead of giving you like a brief synopsis to get you running, I'll explain the show while the show's running. Like, that character is this guy. In episode 2, he XYZ. Well, that matters because that girl that just walked in, see, they've got a thing going. I'm the guy who talks over the episode that I'm actively watching for the first time to explain to you everything to catch you up to where I'm at.
Oh, my God.
That's me.
No. Thank God we were never roommates. I would have hated that.
Well, I mean, like, I can not do that, but that's what I do. I'm glad we weren't roommates. Actually, your TV habits would have made me kill you.
I take it back, Weston. I'm still kind of glad because I couldn't live. I would be cleaning up after you, and I know that I would, and you know that I would too. So I kind of stand by what I said.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay,
fair enough.
That's fair. But I don't know. At the same time, I was trying to think of I was trying to go back and say something like, at the same time, if we did that and then we moved out, I'd be like, I miss the dishes. I miss the napkins everywhere. I did that with Hayden.
Gave me something to do. It gave me a purpose.
Right, exactly. I did do that with
God, I have
Hayden.
so many dishes to do.
But let's not talk about that. We already had that conversation.
There's so many. There are
so
many.
Are they at least in your sink?
Most of them, and then the ones that don't fit in the sink are on the counter next to the sink. The
Okay.
reason for that is because I was running the dishwasher on a bunch of dishes or whatever, and I don't know if I just didn't do enough soap or whatever. They needed a second rinse, so I ended up backed up on dishes, and then I could hand wash some of the dishes, but my drying space, I don't have a lot of counter space, so where I would put the dishes to dry isn't very big, so you can really only reasonably do so many dishes at a time.
Yeah.
And I ended up with a bunch of pots and pans and stuff, and I'm backed up.
He's backed up.
I'm backed up. I'm backed up. It's a slow process. I got the old beep, beep, beep.
Oh, man.
I'm backing up the semi here.
Yeah, that is backing up. Good Lord.
I'm backing up.
Speaking of appliances, here's a little update. So I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago that during our heat wave, I had no AC in my house. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah. You did.
Okay. So that was pretty rough. I ended up getting it back for a week, and then we took behind the curtain. Weston and I took a week off and didn't record. And during that week, Weston, the entire week, well, it was 5 days, but for 5 days, my AC went out again, and they couldn't fix it. And I was miserable. It just, at night, it wasn't horrible. I was able to open up the windows, and it cooled off enough to kind of get some air moving. But just, I work remotely a lot of the time, so I'm just stuck in this house. And I'm trying, I borrowed fans from the office I work at, and I'm blowing them around everywhere. It was so bad. Well, I'm glad they finally, so what they decided to do, they fixed a bunch of stuff. They had to wait on a piece to come in to replace it. That didn't work. And the guy talked to my landlord, because I rent, and he said, listen, we probably need to replace this thing. This thing was installed in 1991. It is over 30 years old. I'm thinking, that
your AC's older than I am.
It's literally older than we are. It's it's probably time to get that done. And guess what? He replaced it, and I've had no issues since. And I don't have to run the AC as hard for it to get cool. And I can guarantee I'm going to probably see at least a little bit of savings on my energy bill. At least I'm hoping so.
Well, yeah. Now that we're moving, we've still got some time, but now that we're moving into the cooler part of the season where you're not going to be running it at all anyway.
Right, that's true. Exactly. So I did want to say this really quick because I don't think I told you last week. That first time my AC went out and it was still really, 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 really hot even at night. It was so bad that I couldn't feel any air move around unless I was standing directly under my ceiling fan. So what I did that night to sleep is I pulled my couch away from the wall, put it directly in the middle of the living room, and I had the fan going full blast. And what I did right before bed is I hopped in the shower, got out. I didn't dry myself off on purpose. And then I just didn't put on any clothes, so I was butt naked, laying on my couch, completely spread eagle, just letting the air just barely blow on me a little bit, just so I could feel cool for 5 minutes. So if somebody would have broke in to the house, they would have turned around quick. Just a naked guy.
Just spread eagle out on the couch, wet. The guy's like, oh no.
This is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Calls the police. Yeah, that happened, and I was laughing at myself at the visual. If somebody walked in right now, I had to do what I had to do.
That's the power move you should have done because you're on your couch. That's the one in the living room, right?
Yes.
Just open up your curtains or whatever to the outside world. Power move. If somebody wants to see, they see.
And I'll leave the TV on all night, so there's a blue glow just on me, and I just oh, that'd be horrifying.
Someone walks by, and the blue glow from the TV kind of make if it reflects off your skin because you're still wet from the shower, right? So you look like you're kind of glowing blue, naked on the couch, like an alien.
That's what I was just thinking. Somebody would think this is something not human. Something extraterrestrial is going on in that house,
There's some ectoplasm in that house, man.
Gosh.
That's not right, man.
I had to share that with you, man. I felt it was one of those moments where even in the moment I was like, this is so weird.
Have you ever? Yeah, one of those moments where you're in your own home. There's no one around to judge you. You're your own man. You can do what you want, and you can sit completely naked in any room that you want.
It's true,
but it's weird.
There's those weird random moments where you laugh at yourself, and you're looking at yourself, and you even realize it's weird. Just like the story I've told on the pod, and I've told you numerous times in various friend groups, where I broke my studio light, and it shattered into a million little pieces, and I had to clean it up, and I could yell whatever I wanted because nobody was home. Anything I wanted. I could have said the worst words you could imagine, and I just went, "Oh no!"
Oh no!
And even then, I thought, "Oh my god!" And I cleaned it up.
That's somehow weirdly more like endearing or like authentic or something. Where like just in your heart of hearts, you didn't have the time to be mad. Just disappointed, right? Just, oh no.
Right. And don't get me wrong, you and I have talked about this too. I get the most angry, not at people, but at inanimate objects. Like, and I want to treat them like people, and I want them to know, I want them to have feelings like people do, so I can tell them how much I hate them and how much I want to murder their family or whatever, right? Like, for some reason with objects, maybe it's because I know I have control over them. I don't know. But
it's
those
like
make
a
me
power dynamic. It's a power thing.
Yeah, exactly. I could say all these horrible things to this microphone that I want because it's not going to do anything to me.
It's like, I will end you and your family.
Oh, literally, those are the things I think. That's true. Yeah.
Hey, Alex.
Yes, sir.
What is the best Halloween monster? The best.
I mean, just a Halloween monster.
Just the best. Yep. Like you might see like somebody dressed up as, or like in a classic Halloween movie, the best Halloween monster.
A monster. I mean, like, I don't.
Yeah. Monster, creature, entity, whatever. The best.
I don't know. Like, because you mentioned like a Halloween costume, and I'm thinking super traditional. This is super traditional, and it's not even tied to Halloween. But I always think of like, if I go traditional Halloween costumes, I think like Frankenstein's monster kind of thing. Like people used to do that a lot.
Okay. I love it. Here's a question: would you hire him?
Yes, I would.
Let's see if you stick to your word as we move into the next segment of our show, where Alex will be hiring a bunch of classic Halloween monsters to perform a job. See you on the other side of the ad break.
See you, folks.
Profoundish is brought to you in part by HastilyMadeDecision.com. Get your poetry fix from my poetry blog featuring haiku, senryu, freeform stuff, and more. Again, that's HastilyMadeDecision.com for your poetry fix.
Profoundish is brought to you in part by The Two-Piece Podcast, a show where my significant other and I compare and contrast our top 5 lists on a variety of topics. Not only is it fun, but we also provide facts and trivia about our topics. Come laugh, learn, and listen to The Two-Piece Podcast on your preferred platform of choice.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the other side. Insert like a crack of like thunder. The other side.
Right. Yep.
I have a bunch of potential new hires. All right, and they're all of the sort of classic Halloween monster variety. And Alex, you are in charge of hiring 9 of these monsters to run a haunted train attraction.
Ooh.
Yes. Yes. So the idea is, your customers, your patrons will be getting on this haunted train. There's things to eat. There are things to do. And you have to hire monsters for these positions. I have, of course, we need a conductor who runs the train and is in charge of the staff. We have an engineer who keeps the train running when things are maybe going wrong. We have a ticket taker who goes through and makes sure everyone that's on board is supposed to be there. Kind of a security kind of ticket taker kind of situation. We have a chef who's making the onboard meals. We have the waiter that's bringing it out to everybody. We have a bartender because those like classic like movies where you're like on a passenger train and there's like a bar and people are like in a smoke-filled room or whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of just wanted to put a bartender on the train because I thought that'd be fun. And then a musician for entertainment. Could be a singer, could be playing a violin or something, whatever. A comedian telling jokes just to keep the mood light, and time for a terror artist. This is an entertainer who's in charge of bringing the terror to the train, actually making it spooky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I like this. Okay.
I just called that position terror because I didn't know what to call that position.
Right. Well, I mean, that's on the nose, so.
The monsters that you have that are applying for these jobs, there are 12 of them, and they are all the classic variety that you might see kids dressed up as for Halloween or something. We have a vampire,
okay, that's
a
what that is.
werewolf, a witch, a zombie, a mummy, the headless horseman, Frankenstein's monster, a goblin, the Grim Reaper, an alien, a ghost, and a swamp monster.
Oh boy, okay.
I found a list online that of like 15 top like Halloween monsters. I shaved 3 of them off to make it 12 instead, but that's where these choices come from, everybody. I didn't just pick them out of nowhere. So if I am missing your favorite monster, maybe say what it is in a comment, and then we'll add it next time.
Yeah, let us know. We'd like to know.
Don't hate me. Yeah.
All right.
And
there's another
to
rule.
add to the mix, there's another rule here. Of these 12 monsters, hidden amongst them, there is an imposter. One of these monsters is not a monster, but a monster in disguise. In secret, they are a monster hunter.
Oh.
And they're looking to derail the train and defeat all the monsters. And if you accidentally hire the monster hunter, that will be the end of your monster train, of this haunted train attraction.
We don't need that.
I will be using a random number generator to decide who that monster hunter is.
Okay.
And every couple of rounds, I will provide you the opportunity to ask a question to help narrow down who that monster hunter might be.
Now, on that part, because that's a rule that we're kind of figuring out. How often is it? Every 3 now, you think? Like, what's...
Every couple.
So, does that mean 2?
2.
Okay.
Every 2.
All right. Okay.
There is one also additional rule where after you pick a position that you want to fill, I will randomly tell you one monster that you can't pick.
That's right.
As like the sort of random chaos factor.
I like it. Okay. Cool.
These are rules that we've done before. We've done this game a few times before.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Not for me.
I'm generating the monster hunter right now. I know who it is. Fantastic. For your first pick, you don't get to ask any questions. This is a complete shot in the dark. What position would you like to fill first?
Okay. I guess I'm just gonna kind of go in order from, I guess, what you have at the top here to the bottom. So I'm going to start with the conductor.
Conductor, perhaps the most important role of all. If you pick wrong on this, like if you pick somebody who just can't do the conducting, I don't know, the whole thing just falls apart. I will say, you can pick any monster, but you can't pick the vampire.
Okay. I actually kind of had my eyes on her. Let's see. What is really quick the right below Frankenstein's monster? What's that again?
That is a ghost.
Oh, a ghost. Okay, a ghost. Okay.
Ghost.
Ooh. So the conductor obviously does play a very important role on this train. I definitely don't want the headless horseman. I want somebody who can see. So that's out. Who Who would be good at kind of leading?
Who has eyes?
Ooh, yeah, that helps. I don't know why I'm thinking this. I really can't tell you why, but I feel like Frankenstein's monster would be a good conductor. I don't have a great explanation. I just feel like he would be a good leader. He's a classic monster. I feel like he's a good representation of like the classic monsters, and I feel like he deserves that spot. I don't know.
I feel like that's just your bias showing, because I asked you like favorite or like what's the best Halloween monster. You're like Frankenstein's monster.
I did say that.
So of
first.
course you're going to give Frankenstein's monster the conductor role.
Hey,
is that what you're going with?
No one said I can't, be
That's true.
biased here. Yeah, I want
No
Frankenstein's.
one said that. You're in charge.
I want him to be the conductor.
Frankenstein's monster gonna be a conductor.
Yeah.
Choo choo.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like the choo choo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever that
All my-
song is.
Pictures moved around here. There we go. Yeah, what song is that?
Yeah.
You and I both are thinking of the same song. Yeah.
It's got isn't it like a weird country song? It's like a hip hop country song.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine
Yeah.
song talking
Yeah.
that song. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That would be awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We've got Frankenstein's monster in as the conductor. Hopefully, it is not the monster hunter.
I'm hoping not.
After this, though, I will allow you to ask your first question about who you think it might be.
These are different things to ask questions on, too. Okay.
Yeah, this is a very eclectic mix.
Yeah, it's not quite as easy, I think, to ask a question that can knock a bunch out. So this is really good on your part, I think. I'm gonna say, okay, let's start with this. This is gonna help me out a little bit. Would you? Oh, it's a yes or no question. I was about to not make it a yes or no question. Does the imposter? Is the imposter undead?
That's a good question, and I think that's probably one that I would have led off with as well. The imposter is undead.
All right. Interesting. Okay.
Ooh.
That helps.
But will it help enough? You have 8 more positions to fill.
I do.
And 11 monsters to fill them with. What role would you like to fill next?
So I think I'm just going to stick with the engineer.
Okay.
Now I'm going to put.
I'm going to stop you before
yeah.
you go too far. The engineer cannot be the goblin.
Okay, I don't want a goblin as my engineer. That's okay. Goblin can stay back. I think the engineer role would be best suited with the alien.
Oh.
This I'm making the assumption. This is an assumption. I haven't read his personal employment history yet, but I'm just assuming that there is going to be some intelligence there. Perhaps intelligence that's just uncharted. I may not even know how smart this alien is. So I just feel like if I'm taking a gamble here, I'm going to pick the alien for that.
I think that's a pretty smart move, actually. Like, you're going with the maybe alien from outside space or whatever, knowing things we don't.
Right.
Maybe they've worked on some alien spacecraft. Maybe they know their way around a wrench or something.
It's like a train,
maybe.
no problem. Like whatever. It's a train.
I like to imagine this is the alien, though, that like beamed down, doesn't know how to run their spaceship, right? They're just like the YouTube Let's Player of aliens, right? They're like, I don't know how any of this works. I don't know.
He makes YouTube videos titled like I visited Earth for 5 days. Here's what happened, and it's just like vlog style.
I spent 5 days on Earth in all caps with the like open mouth, hands on the side of the face.
You won't believe what happened.
There's a big red circle and arrow pointing at Earth in the thumbnail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The third day will shock you.
Yeah. Well, now we're starting to get into like those shady website ads You know what I mean? With those really weird thumbnails that almost sometimes the thumbnails literally look pornographic if you look at it not close enough, and then it's not at all, but it looks like someone's like body part in like a really weird angle. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah, you've got the body ones, or you've got the ones with numbers in them. It's like, this one earth trick will save you $346.
You're so good at like titling them. That's so funny. It's true.
It's like I write them. It's my secret night job. I write all of that.
That'd be kind of fun, actually.
Titles that are terrible.
That would be fun.
That's all me, baby. All right, you've got the alien engineer. What's the next role that you want to fill?
I'm gonna go and do, I guess, the ticket master. Sorry, the ticket taker.
Sure. I almost called the ticket taker role the ticket master. I almost did. I don't know if that's from something like a movie. The ticket master.
No, Ticketmaster is just like the biggest brand in buying tickets, like for anything.
Oh, is it?
Ticketmaster?
Okay.
Yeah. There's a name for this. Maybe you know the name.
Ticket ones.
But like it's kind of like Kleenex. There's a name for this in marketing or whatever, where it's like we call it a Kleenex, but that's the brand. That's one
brand.
It's a
tissue, yeah.
Right, it's tissue.
Yeah, imagine if we actually stopped calling like tissues Kleenexes and actually started calling them, Alex, can you pass me a facial tissue, please?
It's like, no, I can get you a Kleenex.
And you hand me like a box of Puffs.
Puffs. See, when you said Puffs, I had to think about it for a second. I was thinking, what, like cheese puffs? What you talking about?
No, that's another brand of tissue.
Yeah, because the commercials doesn't it has the kid and he's always got the runny nose, and he's,
yeah, the big well, that's not big, but like his like red nose.
Yeah.
He's like got this massive head, and he's like sniffling. Yep. Like, I require a tissue.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna do the ticket taker.
Your ticket taker can be anybody, but it can't be the witch.
Okay. So, once again, I guess I should have asked you this. This is just a fun train ride for passengers to enjoy, but also be spooked on, right?
It's a haunted train attraction.
So, we need...
I mean, at this point, it's kind of as fun or as spooky as you want it to be, kind of depending on how you pick your entertainment later, really,
right.
I guess.
I'm actually going to be considering the ticket taker a little bit of entertainment, too. Because I'm picturing, obviously, you have this kind of normal people hopping on this train ride, and I think their first main interaction is going to be with the ticket taker. So it needs to be
that's true
a monster who's got some personality, some pizzazz, some panache, if you will. So
that's a good word.
But yeah, I like that word. But I don't know who it should be. Like I feel like it should be somebody who's got all those. You know, those flavors. The witch could be fun, but you said I couldn't do the witch. And I don't want it to be overly...
right away from you.
Yeah, you did. I don't want it to be overly scary either, though, because that's going to be for terror. I think... I'm trying to look at the other things I have to deal with here. So we got that. Okay. I think I'm going to do the vampire as the ticket taker.
Okay.
I think vampires...
Are you sure?
I am sure. They're very classic. I feel like anyone could kind of, respond a lot to a vampire taking your ticket. Kind of doing like these lighthearted threats of like taking your blood and all that stuff. It's fun. It gets you in the Halloween spooky spirit.
Look at this delicious young thing. Have you remembered your ticket?
That's exactly right. Yep. And I'm sure I'm not going to put the vampire, in the kitchen as the chef.
I think for me, if it were me, and I had no idea who the monster hunter is and blah, 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 I feel like my go-to spot for the vampire would have been like the bartender, because the vampires always have that reputation of being very like sultry or very charismatic, or that kind of like position where they talk to people.
That's a good point. I guess we both.
I'm not trying to take you away from Ticket Taker, but that was like where I felt like I wanted to put vampire from like my own train.
It's funny because we both said the same reasons in terms of personality and stuff, but yeah, I picked a totally different spot for it. I'll figure something out for bartender. We'll figure this out.
Oh no. I mean, do whatever you want. Well, because if you take the vampire out, because I mean, I could have always like drew a random number, and you could have just not been able to do one or the other. I think my other bartender option is like the witch, or I think a goblin would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Or, like you've got options. I know, like with Frankenstein's monster that you made conductor, that was actually my pick for ticket taker. I just like the idea of Frankenstein's monster going around. He's big, imposing. He just kind of sticks his hand out, and he's like, ticket.
Need a ticket, please.
Ticket.
Yeah.
Ticket, please.
I like that. I do like that.
But this is your train, not mine. So Frankenstein's monster sits in the conductor's role, the alien in the engineer, and the vampire in your ticket taker role. You have the opportunity to ask a second yes or no question to help discern the identity of the monster hunter.
So I asked
remaining 9.
I asked you if they're undead, and you said yes.
Yes.
So, okay. Let me ask this.
Okay.
Is this undead imposter of flesh of some kind? Like, are they, like, tangible? You know what I'm trying to ask? Like, they're physical.
And they are.
Oh, boy.
They are, in fact, tangible.
Okay.
And fleshy.
Fleshy. Okay.
Fleshy.
Okay, we're getting there. Okay. To me, I think I've boiled it down. Now I'm starting to wonder about what this Grim Reaper is all about. I don't know how I classify the Grim Reaper. But I'm looking at the zombie and the mummy, thinking it's one of these two. But now I'm not. I just saw the Grim Reaper, and I'm wondering, is the Grim Reaper... You don't have to answer this, of course, but is the Grim Reaper undead? Would you consider it undead? I don't know. Okay, I'm thinking about it. All right, I might have to just leave him out just in case. All right.
What's your next position?
Oh, yeah, I pick. Okay.
That you're going to fill.
I guess I'm going to go with the chef here. Yeah, the chef.
The chef can be anybody, but it cannot be the ghost.
Okay. So... the chef is somebody who's going to be kind of out in the back. They're not going to be out facing the public very much, at least to my knowledge, because the waiter is going to be taking the food out to the people. So I think it would be pretty difficult. Well, actually, wait a second. Really quick.
Hold the phone.
Is this train only going at night, or is it going during the day too? This is crucial information to me.
I suppose as the owner and operator of the train, I guess it's kind of up to you. I imagine that it'd be spookier at night, so probably night, right?
Okay, yeah. So I'm thinking the werewolf, and let me explain why. All right.
Oh.
So I'm thinking the werewolf because this guy's probably pretty self-conscious. You know, it's midnight, full moon. He's turning into a wolf. He doesn't need to be out facing people, you know. But a monster's got to have a job, right? And I feel like, you know, he needs to be transparent about this. Like, hey, listen, when it's midnight and a full moon, I'm going to turn into a werewolf. Or is this always a werewolf? Or does that not matter to you? I just want to make sure I'm doing this right.
This is like just whatever you imagine the classic werewolf would be, which probably is like full moon, out and about.
Yeah. So
fur man.
I'm going to put I'm doing this under the implications that he's not always full moon fur man, that like when it's daytime, he's just a man again. So
right.
I think what we're going to do in this particular case is he's going to do a lot of his cooking in the daytime. And then when it's nighttime, maybe he can just kind of rummage around the kitchen as a beast man and see what trouble he can cause. So I'm going to throw him as the chef, believe it or not. Just in case he has any shame.
The werewolf in the role of chef. That's probably not a bad spot in case he has any shame. I'm thinking more pragmatically, like, you know, if he's not like always a werewolf, like maybe it's not a full moon, then he's just some guy. Now he's just some guy in the kitchen.
Just some guy in the kitchen. And it'd be nice to kind of have somebody kind of on board this train who's just not completely a monster all the time. You know, so.
I get it. I think I could get down with that.
Yeah.
I think I'm there with you.
Cool. So am I picking
What
again?
is the next?
Okay.
You're picking again. What's the next rule?
I'm just going to keep going down the list here. So the chef, the werewolf was making this food, but the food needs to be taken out to our lovely patrons, and I'm going to pick the waiter now.
For the waiter, you can pick anybody, but you cannot pick the ghost again.
Really? Okay. That's
I
okay.
rolled the ghost again.
I've got plans for the ghost, so I might be okay. So the waiter, once again, we're talking personality. They're going to be just like the bartender, like you mentioned, a lot of customer facing. You know, it's important to entertain and to tend to these people. Who's going to be accommodating of that with the goblin? That'd be kind of funny. Imagine a goblin coming out and giving you your I can't think of any food right now, like literally any. Your spinach
Your mini
artichoke
weenies.
dip.
Yeah.
The witch would be good too. I don't know. The witch
Just
could
the
have a...
dip, nothing to dip into it.
I don't know. You know, I want to wait with the goblin though, because I think the goblin's going to be in a really awesome spot that I don't want to put there. So, I think. Oh, you know what? We need efficiency. If you're a waiter, we need efficiency, speed, get people in and out, and get people their food as quickly as you can. I'm going to give it to the Headless Horseman. I think the Headless Horseman. Now we're going to have a big train for this to fit a horse in there, but he's going to be able to run around nice and quick. And if anybody wants a little pumpkin flavoring, he can add his own little pumpkin flavoring because his head's a pumpkin. So. Little extra touch.
He's going to scoop out bits of his pumpkin brain out of people's food.
That's so spooky, you know what I mean? It's like, you want some pumpkin? He just scoops it out, and all the kids, oh, look what he did, Dad! You know, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So,
He scooped his own head onto my food.
He scooped his own head! Yeah, that's what I'm doing, Headless Horseman as the waiter. Because he'd be fun. I think he'd be fun. And he's efficient. He's got the horse. He's going quick.
He's got the horse. And I guess like if there's a lot of food that needs to go out, maybe they can team up. Like he gets off the horse and the horse helps weight the food.
Yeah. Well, I was actually thinking like a really nice. This is something that I would invest in, of course, since it's my train. But like a nice saddle that it can kind of like house a lot of stuff on the sides or something.
Like the saddle has its own like side trays that like stick out. You put stuff on.
Exactly.
I don't know how that works like mechanically, but yes.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. I will allow you another question to help discern the identity of the monster hunter.
Okay, so I'm stuck really between the zombie and the mummy. Okay. How do I ask this question? Because I was about to...
Things that make you go,
Things that make you go, Okay. I mean, I don't know how else to ask this. Okay. Oh, did the imposter how do I ask this? Was the imposter infected prior to being what they are now? Like they or meaning they were just a human and then they became infected. That's my question.
No.
Okay. So I believe, I could be wrong, but I think the imposter is going to be the mummy, but I guess we can wait and see. Okay, can I vote for the bartender now?
You can. The bartender, if you want to fill the bartender role next, it can be anybody, but it cannot be the goblin.
Okay, that's still okay. I think for the bartender, I want it to be the witch. I think...
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
I think the witch would be a really good bartender. I think she'd... Like, if this is a family, like families coming in here, I think she'd kind of be a little kind of like flirty with the dads. Not like super sexual flirty, but just kind of like, and for you, handsome. And she's got like her cauldron and, and she's like making drinks out of it and stuff. I just think that'd be really great.
I don't know why I can't select the witch again. She's stuck there permanently.
That's
but
okay.
yeah, I was thinking more like, the witch would have like her cauldron of drinks to try. But I like how you're like, oh yeah, if this were a family thing, she'd be flirting with the dads.
Yeah, and I said like, yeah, get the cauldron, and I could see her like, even if it's just one cauldron, like for like this popular drink that they're serving, like she can just literally like dip a cup in the cauldron. It's got bubbling water or bubbling whatever's in there, and then here you go, or
bubbling
like
tonic water.
Yeah, there you go, perfect.
All right, what's the next role that you want to fill?
We're going in order here. I guess I'm going to do something close to my heart, the musician.
The musician could be anybody, but it cannot be the swamp monster.
Okay. Oh, I forgot about the swamp monster.
Swamp monster.
The swamp
For everybody at
monster.
home, there is the mummy, the zombie, the grim reaper, the goblin, the swamp monster, and the ghost remaining.
Who would be the best at
singing or playing an instrument or something musical?
I think I just figured it out. And I don't know though. I don't know because let me talk to you about my process. So
tell me about your process.
I'm going to so I'm not going to talk about the goblin yet because I'm really proud of it and happy about that one. But the ghost. Okay. So I initially wanted the ghost to be the terror. However, the ghost would also be a good musician, especially around all the other ones I currently have at my disposal. Because I'm picturing like very traditional, ooh, like in the old cartoons or whatever, ghosts are oohing. And I just feel like that would be good, but like a zombie
Imagine
is not...
an a cappella ghost that just oohs all the sounds.
Exactly. That'd be awesome. It actually would probably kind of sound like those automatron. No, what's it? Not automatron. What are they called? The wow. They squeeze their face and they got like these long things. Do you know what I'm talking about at all?
I think I know what you're talking about. The weird like electrical box thing.
They're usually spherical. It's like a weird. It's like a weird spherical thing, and then there's a big. It's like a fretboard on a guitar. It's like a board above it, and then like you can slide your finger across it to hit the different notes. But it is like, it's like the noises come from like your touch. It's like haptic feedback, sort of thing. And then like it vibrates a little bit, then like it makes a noise. It's weird, but I think they're called automatrons, something like that. Anyway, that's what I picture.
Something like that.
That noise.
Automaton.
Automaton. Okay.
The automatones are the giant like the shape of like a note or whatever.
Right.
And it's got like the mouth on the bottom or whatever. Those are really popular. Because a lot of them put like faces on the bottom where the little sphere is.
Right. Yep. I actually have one somewhere. I always wanted to do like a YouTube cover of just those. Just record it a bunch of times, do the different notes. I thought that'd be fun. Okay. For musician, I'm gonna go with it because I think I'll reorganize for terror. So I'm gonna put the ghost in musician. I think that would be really funny. I think people would not expect it. You see this floating ghost-like figure just going, and now Billy Joel, and then it's just singing all these. This classic 80s songs. I think it'd be great.
It's funny. It's like, I feel like of everything left here, I would have, like, Ghost, I think, is the best option, but I would have just assumed they would have been singing in their own voice, just ghostly. But I like how you're like, no, they can't even talk. They're just oohing.
Yeah, they're just oohing every song, but they're like popular melodies, so people know what they are.
That's great.
Yep.
All right. You have 5 monsters left, 2 roles, and 1 more question to try to discern the identity of the monster hunter. What is your final question?
I guess, honestly, my final question is, I'm just going to be very specific, is the imposter wrapped up in, like, white bandages?
No.
What? Thank God I asked that question. It has...
Dun, dun, dun!
Yeah. Oh, my God. Thank God I asked that because... Oh, my gosh! That kind of blew my mind. So it's clearly the Grim Reaper. So I got to... Crap! I was going to use him as the Terror. Thank God I asked that. Sorry, I'm processing all of this right now. Okay. I guess I'm going to pick the comedian.
Do we need to
now.
go through... Do we need
yeah.
to go through what your questions were? Do you need a reminder on what you've asked?
Yeah, what did I ask? Yeah.
You asked if they're undead,
Okay.
and they are.
Yeah.
You asked if they're tangible or fleshy, and they are. You asked if they are infected. They are not. And you asked if they're wrapped up in white, and they are not.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
What's the next role you'd like to fill? There's the comedian and the terror remaining.
I'll do the comedian.
Comedian can be anybody, but it cannot be... It cannot be the Grim Reaper.
Oh, thank God. Okay, I thought you were going to say the Goblin. The Goblin is going to be the comedian. I've been waiting. I've been sitting on this the whole time. It's going to be hilarious. I can just imagine him walking around. Hey, what are you looking at, kid? He's the that's how I picture him talking for some reason. You know what? When I'm picturing the Goblin, I'm just picturing this is tall in this picture, but I'm picturing like those goblin-looking things in Harry Potter. I know those are really short.
Yeah.
But like I'm picturing his kind of face, but like this tall. Hey, what are you looking at? And
Hey,
you
want to hear a funny joke?
and I
Your
feel like
face.
I feel like they're kind of like heckler kind of comedians. So like they'll like heckle the crowd a lot. Like, hey, Dad, you bring enough room for two or whatever. You know, just weird. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's all I.
Dad, did you bring enough room for two?
I don't know what that means.
I don't know either, but it's I'm offended. I feel like I need to hide my wife and kids.
Right. It's like, what does that mean? Exactly. Anyway, I think he'd be really good. I think he'd be a little uncomfortable for families, but I think that makes it even funnier.
I love it. And that means your final role to fill is the Terror. And that can be anybody, but it cannot be Rollin'. It cannot be the Mummy.
Dang. Okay, you know what? I think I'm just going to go ahead. This isn't my... I don't know. I probably wouldn't have been my first choice, but now it kind of has to be. Because I don't think the swamp monster needs to go there. I think people would be pretty affected by the zombie. So I'm going to do the zombie.
You're going to do the zombie?
I'm going to do the zombie. You know, zombies are very, in general, in these days. And I just feel like that would freak people out. You know, like, guys, listen, don't freak out. But in the back room, they can tell this whole story, right? It's like somebody was bitten and they were or something. You know, they had this weird rash on their arm and they've been acting kind of strange lately. I don't know where and you know, then all of a sudden later on there's a little outbreak with a zombie. You know, they could paint this whole picture and really kind of play into it. So yeah.
I like the idea, too, that maybe there's, like, other, like, fake corpses throughout the train or whatever, and the zombie is definitely one of them, just hanging out lifelessly, and people have probably been walking by it, looking at it, taking pictures of it or the entire time, and everyone's just, it's dead. And then, like, halfway through the ride or at some point, it starts moving, spooking people, disappearing.
Yeah, and it should be, like, a long game. Like, it's twitching and moving a little bit for, like, 30 to 45 minutes. So just every once in a while, while people are eating their dinner, they kind of look and they see this little leg twitch. Did that thing just move? It's like, no, it couldn't have moved, right?
And at first, that's creepy, but then people get used to it and kind of forget about it.
And then it happens, yeah. That's awesome.
And then it happens.
Oh, yeah.
You've got all of your positions assigned. I will allow, before we finish, one switch. If you want to switch any two people in positions or... you know, fire somebody and bring someone on instead. So far, you have, as your conductor, the Frankenstein's monster, the engineer, the alien, the ticket taker, the vampire, rather. The chef is a werewolf. The waiter is the headless horseman. The bartender is the witch. The musician is the ghost. The comedian is the goblin. And the terror is the zombie. with the Mummy, the Grim Reaper, and the Swamp Thing on the sidelines. Would you like to switch any one of those?
God, to be honest, I ended up kind of liking how this ended up. So no, I think I'm good. Yeah, I like this.
With that, what will you name your train attraction?
So it's got to be. I was already thinking about this. It's got to be. Just per tradition, it has to be some sort of alliteration going on.
Of course.
So it's the something train. I just saw somebody from some Disney show staring at me a second ago.
Oh yeah, it's all the same doc. Like these are the previous games.
Oh, I got you. Also, I didn't see anyone from Disney. That was Penny. Okay, so train. What are some good words for like spooky? I mean, I guess you could say like terrifying. That's a T word. The terrifying. Ooh, I like traumatizing too. The traumatizing train of blank. The traumatizing train of horrors. That'd be kind of good.
Traumatizing train. The traumatizing train of terror.
Oh, you could do terror. The traumatizing train of terror.
Tribulation.
I think I might.
I don't know.
I think I kind of like the traumatizing train of terror. The traumatizing train of terror.
The traumatizing train of terror.
And then it could just be, colon, prepare to be traumatized.
And so, on the inaugural launch of the train, all the new hires board the train, take their roles, patrons come on board, the train takes off. But by dawn, when it returns and you go to board your own train, you find that all of your monsters have been slain by the Monster Slayer, who was, in fact, the entire time, the Headless Horseman.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yes, he's undead. At least in some legends, he's believed to be a decapitated Hessian soldier. He's undead. He's tangible and fleshy. He's not infected with anything, and he's not wrapped up in anything. The Headless Horseman was the monster hunter the entire time.
You gave me literal multiple chances. You reread my questions to me. You gave me a chance to swap. Dang, that was good, man. I didn't even think of... You're right, though. Like, I can't even argue that. He's definitely undead.
There are some variations of the story where he's like a demon or technically a fairy of some kind, but like not human necessarily.
Right.
But the one that I'm more familiar with is that he's a decapitated human. So that's where I went with for undead for him.
Well, according to what you just said, though, we did have one successful night of terror still.
One successful night of pure terror as your customers looked on in horror as the Headless Horseman started chopping down all the different monsters.
Maybe they just thought it was part of the act.
Yeah, maybe. Until they got home, they're like, I think this fake blood isn't fake.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, should we call the police? Or
I'm like,
what's going on?
I'm covered in viscera right now, and I'm kind of grossed out. That was the traumatizing train of terror. Traumatizing indeed.
Yeah, no kidding. That was good. That was the first time that we the imposter made it on.
Yeah, this is the first time. And it won't be the last. Dun,
Bum,
dun,
bum,
dun.
bum.
Anyway, we're running along the tooth. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Profoundish. We are Profoundish. You're listening to us either on, like, Spotify or, like, YouTube, or we're on Apple, aren't we? We're around. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Give us those 5 stars, those likes. Give us a comment. Follow us on the Twitter, the Instagram, the TikTok, at ProfoundishPod. Yeah. Alex, where can we find you?
You can find me at alexduquette.net. You can see everything I do there. I do a lot of music stuff. So check it out. I do medleys where I take a bunch of theme songs and put them together into one song. When is this episode coming out, by the way?
The 8th of October.
8th of October. So as of the time of listening to this, you should listen to my horror movie theme songs medley. It just dropped. A little bit different from what I usually do. But if you're into horror movie flicks, scary movies, listen to that. It's a lot of iconic songs. So that's my little shout out. Listen to my horror movie medley. Weston, what about you?
No, I'm looking forward to it. You can find me. I've got a website, westonhasty.com. But for the most part, a lot of the things that I've been doing here lately are video game related. You can follow my YouTube channel. It's called Magic Man Mo. I've been doing a bunch of random like flash games and internet games on the channel lately. So if you want some nostalgia trips of me playing some old games that you may or may not have played from like, I don't know, the early 2000s or something, check that out.
That sounds good.
Yeah. But like I said, that's been our show. Thank you for listening, and until next time. All right.